Welcome to the cult of shakes and sweat. The Beachbody BODi MLM saga begins. Ah yes, Beachbody, the fitness empire that made millions off the promise that if you just sweat hard enough in your living room and drink their magic overpriced powder, you too could have abs like a Marvel superhero. Founded in 1998 by Carl Dikeller and John Congdon, Beachbody started as a fitness program company, P90X, Insanity, 21 Day Fix, the classics. But then in a stroke of genius or desperation, depending on how you see it, they decided selling workout programs wasn't enough. Why make money selling fitness when you can make way more money selling the illusion of success? Enter the glorious world of multi-level marketing, MLM for short, the business model that's totally not a pyramid scheme according to the people at the top of the pyramid. Beachbody transitioned into an MLM empire by creating the coach system. Sounds professional, right? Well, fun fact, absolutely no certification was required to be a Beachbody coach. You didn't need a background in fitness, nutrition, or even basic human anatomy. All you needed was a credit card and a complete lack of shame when messaging old high school friends about exciting business opportunities. But wait, it gets better. Coaches weren't just encouraged to sell Beachbody programs and supplements, they were told to recruit more coaches. The more people they signed up, the more money they made. At least, that was the pitch. In reality, 99% of them made nothing. Instead, they were left with a pantry full of Shakeology, a subscription to the Beachbody on demand service they couldn't cancel, and an existential crisis about why their side hustle was actually costing them money. Then came the rebrand. In 2023, after years of scrutiny, declining sales, and a reputation that was about as trustworthy as a late-night infomercial, Beachbody tried to reinvent itself. They changed their name to BODi, yes, with a capital B, lowercase o, and a lowercase di, because nothing says fresh start like a weirdly stylized brand name. The move came with a new mission to focus on health esteem, because apparently selling the idea of having a beach body was too problematic. They even ditched the MLM model, effectively cutting loose thousands of coaches who had spent years convincing their friends and family to buy meal replacement shakes and at-home workouts. Imagine spending years telling everyone this was the opportunity of a lifetime, only for the company to go, yeah, never mind. That business model actually sucks. And just like that, the Beachbody hustle crumbled. The dream of financial freedom and working from anywhere disappeared faster than a Shakeology refund request. But the real question is, was this a genuine move toward a more ethical business, or just another desperate attempt to stay relevant in a world where people can stream literally any workout on YouTube for free? Let's find out. The Beachbody coach scam, selling the dream, losing your wallet. So let's talk about the real star of this grift, the Beachbody coach. And no, not a real coach, not a certified trainer, not a licensed dietitian, not even someone who took a weekend seminar on fitness. No, a Beachbody coach was just a regular person who made the grave mistake of saying yes to someone in their DMs. Beachbody made it sound incredible. You get to be your own boss, work from home, help people get in shape, be part of a supportive community of #bossbabes who uplift each other while also trying to steal each other's downlines. What they didn't tell you was that being a Beachbody coach meant you were the customer. Here's how it worked. Step 1. Sign up as a coach and pay a $39.95 coach enrollment fee because apparently good business opportunities charge you to work for them. Step 2. Maintain an active coach status by purchasing at least $100 to $150 worth of Beachbody products every single month, even if you can't sell a single tub of Shakeology to anyone else. Step 3, recruit more people to do the same thing, because the real money isn't in selling workout programs, it's in recruiting other suckers to join your downline. Step 4, watch as your credit card bill climbs, your friendships evaporate, and your living room turns into a Shakeology warehouse. Now let's talk about Shakeology. Beachbody called it the healthiest meal of the day. Dietitians called it overpriced protein powder with a fairy dusting of superfoods. At nearly $130 per bag, Shakeology was aggressively marketed as a necessity for success. Coaches were told they had to be a product of the product, which meant buying Shakeology every month and drinking it religiously, even if it made their stomachs feel like they just swallowed a cement mixer. And don't even think about questioning the price. If you dared to say, hey, this shake costs more than my groceries for the week, you'd be hit with the classic MLM guilt trip. You just don't believe in yourself. If you cared about your health, you'd invest in it. Starbucks is more expensive. Except it's not, and Starbucks doesn't ask you to recruit 5 friends to maintain your latte privileges. But let's be real, the actual product of Beachbody wasn't Shakeology. It wasn't Insanity or P90 Times or whatever new workout they were shoving down people's throats. The real product was the dream, the promise that if you just worked hard enough, just believed enough, you too could be a six-figure fitness entrepreneur with financial freedom. Spoiler alert, you wouldn't. Beachbody's own income disclosure statement painted a brutal picture. Over 99% of coaches made little to no money. The majority earned less than $500 a year before expenses. And the expenses? Oh, those were fun. Between mandatory product purchases, training materials, yearly summit conventions, and online marketing courses, because apparently spamming your Facebook friends with workout selfies is a skill you need to pay to learn, most coaches were actually losing money. And yet, they kept going. Because MLMs don't just sell products, they sell hope. The belief that success is right around the corner. The idea that if you just hustle harder, post more motivational Instagram quotes, and pressure your mom into buying another workout program, everything will turn around. It wouldn't. But Beachbody didn't care. Because while you were drowning in Shakeology debt, the people at the top, the elite coaches who had been in the game since the early days, were sitting pretty, raking in commissions from their massive downlines, collecting free trips to Mexico, and gaslighting struggling coaches into believing their failure was their own fault. It was never their fault. The system was designed to fail them. And yet for years, people bought into the dream. Until Beachbody did something that no one saw coming. They pulled the plug on the whole thing, but not before leaving a trail of financial devastation behind them. The great BODi rebrand, when the scam stopped scamming, kind of. So after years of milking their coaches dry, Beachbody, like a snake shedding its overpriced protein-packed skin, decided to rebrand. Because when people start catching on to your scam, what do? Admit your mistakes? Offer refunds to all the people who lost money? Or shut down and go quietly into the night? Of course not. You slap on a new name, pretend it was part of the plan all along, and hope no one notices. And so Beachbody became BODi, which, let's be honest, sounds like the name of a knockoff fitness app you'd see advertised in a mobile game. Now, BODi's whole deal was, we're not an MLM anymore, we're all about wellness, mindset, and science-based health, which is hilarious because Beachbody spent years promoting crash diets, toxic weight loss culture, and overpriced shakes with mysterious superfoods. They also scrapped the coach commission system, which meant all those Beachbody Hunbots who spent years convincing themselves they were business owners suddenly found out that their business had been yanked out from under them like a bad yoga mat. No more downlines, no more pyramid, no more fake girl boss empire. Naturally, the top Beachbody coaches lost their minds. How will I make money now? Try getting an actual job? This is so unfair. I worked hard for my team. You mean the people you roped in and convinced to go into debt? I feel so betrayed. Welcome to how your recruits felt when they realized they were never going to make money. But the real kicker, BODi, still expected their former coaches to keep selling their products. Except now there was no opportunity attached. It was just selling stuff like a regular retail job, except without hourly pay, benefits, or job security. So what did the ex-coaches do? They jumped ship to other MLMs. Because let's be real, once someone has fully marinated in MLM culture, it's hard for them to go back to reality. A life without fake business seminars, toxic positivity, and pretending to be successful on Instagram? Unthinkable. Some joined Optavia, another diet cult disguised as a health program, but with even more aggressive starvation tactics. Others moved on to Prove It, where they could push ketones that are totally not snake oil, but are absolutely snake oil. And a few just doubled down on being influencers, desperately trying to pivot to generic wellness content while still trying to convince their audience that drinking a $130 shake is a good financial decision. And here's the funniest part. While all this chaos was happening, the CEO of Beachbody straight up admitted that the MLM model was unsustainable. That's right. Carl Deichler, the guy who spent decades hyping up the Beachbody business model, just casually admitted that it wasn't working anymore, which, for anyone with a functioning brain, was about as shocking as finding out that water is wet. But for the people who built their entire identities around Beachbody coaching, it was a full-blown existential crisis. The company that told them just work harder and you'll succeed was now saying, oops, actually, yeah, this whole thing was kind of doomed from the start. But thanks for your money. At the end of the day, the Beachbody to BODi transition wasn't some redemption arc. It wasn't about getting rid of toxic diet culture or actually caring about people's health. It was just a corporate survival tactic. The The same pseudoscience, the same overpriced products, just with a fresh coat of wellness paint to trick the next wave of customers. And the worst part, it's probably going to work. The coaches hustling for pennies in a fitness pyramid scheme. Yes, the Beachbody coaches, the backbone of this glorious scam. You might assume that to become a fitness coach, you'd need qualifications, experience, or at least basic knowledge of nutrition and exercise. Nope. The only requirement? A pulse and the ability to hand over your credit card information. For the low price of hundreds of dollars, anyone could become a coach and gain the prestigious privilege of selling overpriced protein powder to their Facebook friends while pretending to be an entrepreneur. And let's talk about that title for a second. Coach sounds impressive, right? Like you're some kind of fitness expert? Reality? You're a sales rep with no salary, no benefits, and no actual expertise. It's brilliantly deceptive. BODi made it seem like their coaches were helping people get fit when in reality they were just unpaid brand ambassadors, desperately trying to recruit new victims into the scheme. And let's be clear, recruiting was the real moneymaker. See, selling Shakeology and workout programs barely paid anything. A coach might make $30 off a sale, but what Beachbody really wanted them to do was build a team. That meant convincing other people to also become coaches and buy the same overpriced products. A new recruit buys the starter pack. Their upline gets a cut. They're pressured to recruit more people. Repeat until financial ruin. Sounds familiar? That's because it's textbook MLM. The top coaches, the ones flexing on Instagram about their six-figure incomes, didn't make that money by selling protein shakes. They made it by recruiting an army of desperate people who kept funneling money into the system. And the success rate? 99% of people who joined Beachbody lost money. Yeah, that's not a typo. Nearly everyone who signed up ended up in the red, but instead of acknowledging that maybe the system was broken, Beachbody had a different explanation. You didn't work hard enough. You didn't believe in yourself. You weren't posting on social media every single day. Your mindset was wrong. Because in MLM world, failure is never the company's fault. If you lost thousands of dollars, it wasn't because the business model was garbage, it was because you lacked the hustle. And this is where things got really dark. Coaches were told to push through rejection, ignore red flags, and keep investing money they didn't have. Can't afford the monthly Shakeology subscription? Put it on a credit card. Struggling to pay rent? Sell harder. Losing money and burning out? Just be more positive. The toxicity of this mindset was next level. Coaches would publicly post about their dream lives, financial freedom, and six-figure incomes, while secretly struggling behind the scenes. Some maxed out their credit cards, some lost friendships, some ended up in serious debt, but they couldn't admit it. Because once you've built your whole identity around being a successful coach, admitting failure isn't an option. And if you dared to speak out, if you even hinted that maybe Beachbody wasn't the magical, life-changing opportunity it pretended to be, you were a hater, a negative influence, a bad mindset. Coaches were actively discouraged from questioning anything. They were trained to cut off anyone who doubted the business, whether it was friends, family, or even their own common sense. Your friends don't support your business, cut them off. Your spouse doesn't want you spending more money? They don't believe in your dreams. You're losing money? Just trust the process and work harder. This wasn't just a bad business model, this was manipulation at its finest. And the worst part, the top coaches knew exactly what was happening and they didn't care. They knew that most of their recruits would never make a dime. They knew that the system was designed for people to fail, but as long as they were getting paid, it didn't matter. That's why when Beachbody rebranded to BODi and killed the MLM structure, the top coaches panicked because without a downline of new recruits, they had to actually sell the products themselves. And spoiler alert, most of them weren't making enough money to survive. Turns out when you take away the pyramid, the whole thing collapses. The cult-like mentality, toxic positivity, brainwashing, and delusion. But Beachbody wasn't just an MLM. It was a lifestyle, a movement, a cult in yoga pants. The mindset conditioning in this company was next-level brainwashing, and the way they kept people trapped was genius in the most sinister way possible. Because here's the thing. You can't just sell overpriced shakes and workouts. You have to believe in them, worship them, and convince others to drink the Kool-Aid or Shakeology. The girl boss propaganda was aggressive. If you're not making money, it's because you're not working hard enough. If your friends don't support you, cut them off. They're jealous of your success. If you're struggling, it's just your mindset. manifest harder. Beachbody didn't just sell a product, it sold a dream. A dream where you'd work from home, make 6 figures, be a fit goddess, and never have to answer to a boss again. But to keep the dream alive, you had to stay positive. Toxic positivity was mandatory. Feeling exhausted from working 24/7? Just push through. Struggling to pay your bills? Success is coming. Just trust the process. Realizing that this whole thing is a scam? Don't be negative. Negativity ruins success. Or you couldn't complain. You couldn't question anything. If you weren't thriving, it was your fault. This wasn't a business. It was a psychological trap. The love bombing and gaslighting cycle Beachbody, like any great cult, used a cycle of emotional manipulation to keep people hooked. Love bombing. When you first joined, you were showered with support. Your upline hyped you up. They told you were special, you were a leader, you were destined for success. The hustle phase, then came the grind. Endless social media posting, cold messaging, fake enthusiasm, and trying to convince your grandma to buy Shakeology. The burnout phase, reality kicked in. You were spending more money than you made, your social circle was avoiding you, and you realized you weren't living the dream, you were just annoying people on Facebook. Gaslighting, if you complained, you were told it was your fault. You just need to work harder. Maybe you're not manifesting correctly. Have you really committed? Blame and isolation, you started losing money, but quitting meant admitting failure. And since you'd already publicly branded yourself as a fitness queen, how could you walk away now? And if you did quit, you were exiled. Or you weren't a boss babe anymore, you were a quitter. You just didn't believe in yourself. They made failure feel like a personal flaw instead of what it actually was, a rigged system designed for 99% of people to lose. And that's how they kept people trapped for years. Toxic positivity disguised as empowerment. Shame disguised as motivation. Manipulation disguised as mentorship. And if you think this all sounds familiar, that's because it's the exact same playbook cults use. Control the information, shame anyone who questions the system, convince people that failure is their fault, make it emotionally painful to leave. Beachbody wasn't just an MLM, it was a psychological mind prison. And the people who got out, they weren't just quitting a business, they were deprogramming themselves from a cult. The product scam, overpriced, overhyped, and probably not that healthy. All right, let's talk about the actual products Beachbody was peddling because, oh boy, this was some gourmet grade nonsense. Shakeology, aka the $130 sadness powder, the crown jewel of Beachbody's scam empire. The so-called superfood shake that costs more than your entire grocery budget but delivers less than a half-decent protein bar. This stuff was hyped up like it was made from unicorn tears and blended in the fountain of youth. It claims boosts energy, spoiler, it's just caffeine, reduces cravings because you just spent $130 and are now too broke for real food. Superfoods, fancy word for powders with no measurable health benefit. The truth? It's a glorified protein shake. Half the ingredients are in proprietary blends, meaning they don't have to tell you how much of anything is actually in it. It's full of artificial sweeteners, which can cause bloating, digestive issues, and existential dread. It costs over $4 a serving, while actual science-backed protein shakes cost like $1.50. And yet, every Beachbody Hun swore by it like it was the secret to eternal life. OMG, Shakeology changed my life. Yeah, because now you can't afford real food and have no choice but to survive on it. BODi workouts, the gym membership you don't need, let's get real. Some of the Beachbody workouts were fine, our P90 times, insanity, solid programs. But Beachbody couldn't just sell workouts because that's not how an MLM works. Instead, they had to overcharge for access because $20 a month for YouTube wasn't scammy enough. Constantly pump out new programs to make you feel like you had to keep paying. Pretend like working out was a revolutionary concept they invented. And of course, every Beachbody coach acted like you'd die instantly if you dared to exercise without them. Or don't just work out with Beachbody, the only company in the world that has ever discovered fitness. Oh, and then there's the supplements. The Beachbody supplement circus. Because what's an MLM without completely unnecessary powders and pills? Beachbody had a supplement for everything. Want to recover from workouts? Here's some overpriced BCAAs. Need more energy? Here's some natural pre-workout that's just caffeine and hope. Want to lose weight? Here's a cleanse kit that's just laxatives. And people ate this up, literally, not because they needed them, but because their upline told them they did. And that is the real trick of an MLM. Convince people they have a problem. Make them think your overpriced product is the only solution. Shame them if they don't buy it. The products were never the point. It wasn't about health. It wasn't about fitness. It was about making sure people stayed locked into the scam. And as long as they believed the nonsense their upline fed them, they'd keep spending their hard-earned money on overpriced garbage wrapped in pseudoscience. Because if they stopped, they'd have to admit they got scammed. And for a lot of people, that was too painful to face. The cult like mind control, gaslighting, love bombing, and fake positivity. All right, now let's talk about the real product Beachbody was selling, manipulation. Because let's be honest, the workouts were just the bait. The real money was in trapping people inside a cult-like system where critical thinking goes to die. Step 1, love bombing. You're gonna be so successful, babe. The moment you signed up, your upline would smother you in toxic positivity so thick, you'd think you joined a motivational speaker's fan club. OMG, you're going to be so amazing at this. This business is going to change your life. I can already see you retiring early, living your dream life, working from the beach. Translation, you're about to go broke, but I need you to stick around long enough for me to get a commission. Step 2, the gaslighting. It's not the business, it's you. When, not if, you started losing money, they had the perfect response. It's not the business that's failing you. You're failing the business. You're not making sales. You're not trying hard enough. Struggling to recruit. You just need to believe more. Spending more than you earn? That's called an investment in yourself. Reality check, you were never meant to succeed. MLMs are mathematically designed for 99% of people to lose money. But instead of admitting that, Beachbody did what every MLM does, shamed their victims into silence. Step 3, the fake community, we're a family until you leave. Beachbody didn't just sell workout plans, they sold the illusion of belonging. Every group chat, every Facebook post, every team call was filled with fake encouragement. You're killing it, boss babe. Over-the-top success stories, usually from the same 5 people who actually made money. A relentless positivity that didn't allow for any negativity or doubt. Until you started asking too many questions. Hey, why am I not making any money? Is it normal to be losing hundreds of dollars a month? Has anyone actually read the income disclosure statement? Boom, exile mode activated. The second you doubted the system, you became an outsider, or blocked from the group, ignored by your upline, labeled as negative or not committed. And that's how they kept people trapped. If you left Beachbody, you weren't just walking away from a bad business decision. You were walking away from your friends, your support system, your family. And that's what kept people stuck. Because if you've already lost money, ruined relationships, and wasted months, maybe years of your life on this scam, admitting it was all a lie, that's harder than just pretending it's still going to work. The fall of Beachbody, BODi, rebranding, Desperation, and the MLM collapse. Ah yes, the classic MLM tactic when people start catching on that you're scamming them. Simply change your name and pretend you're a whole new company. This is exactly what Beachbody did when they rebranded to BODi in 2023. Because nothing says, we're totally not a shady pyramid scheme, like slapping a fresh coat of paint on the same scam and hoping nobody notices. So why the rebrand? Well, Beachbody had a reputation problem. Turns out people don't like it when they realize they've been manipulated into losing money while funding the luxurious vacations of their upline. Who knew? So CEO Carl Daikeler, in a last-ditch effort to salvage the company, announced a wellness-focused rebrand in 2023, complete with a new name, new colors, and a desperate attempt to distance themselves from the MLM business model. The promise? No more emphasis on recruitment, no more MLM, just straight-up fitness coaching and product sales. Except, here's the thing, it was still an MLM. For months, coaches were still being encouraged to recruit their downline, buy their own products, and operate just like they did under Beachbody. It didn't work. Beachbody, BODi was hemorrhaging money, sales were plummeting, and even some of their top coaches were jumping ship. The coaching structure was a joke. They replaced the MLM ranks with certified BODi partners, which is just a fancy way of saying, you're still paying us to sell our overpriced garbage. Meanwhile, Shakeology sales continued to tank because, surprise, surprise, people realized they could get cheaper, better protein shakes at literally any grocery store. The same people who used to proudly proclaim that Shakeology was the healthiest meal of the day suddenly got really quiet when BODi started pushing the exact same product under a new label, but without the same aggressive MLM angle. But here's the real kicker. As Beachbody BODi was desperately trying to scrub its MLM past, many of its most loyal Huns weren't having it. For years, these women had been selling the dream of financial freedom. Be your own boss, quit your job, make money from home. And now, suddenly, their entire business model was disappearing. Their response? Pure, unfiltered panic. Coaches who had spent years climbing the ranks, sacrificing their personal lives, and maxing out their credit cards on Shakeology auto shipments were suddenly told, yeah, so we're gonna stop doing that whole pyramid scheme thing. Good luck figuring out how to sell fitness subscriptions on your own. And let me tell you, it was delicious. The Hun meltdown, watching a pyramid scheme crumble in real time. If you ever need pure, unfiltered entertainment, look no further than MLM Huns realizing their business is collapsing. It's like watching a live-action horror movie where the villain is also the victim, and instead of zombies or ghosts, the horror is basic math. When Beachbody announced they were ditching the MLM model, top-ranking coaches, many of whom had built entire personalities around being #boss babes, absolutely lost their minds. Let's break it down. Denial, the first stage of every MLM collapse. Coaches flooded Facebook and Instagram with posts about how BODi isn't changing that much, or this is an amazing new opportunity. Meanwhile, they were frantically DMing their downlines, trying to reassure themselves more than anyone else. Anger, once reality set in, the gloves came off. Coaches raged in private Facebook groups, calling Carl Deichler a sellout and accusing BODi of betraying them. How could they do this to us? We built this company. No, you paid to exist in it. Bargaining desperate. Some coaches clung to the idea that maybe they could still recruit, maybe there was a loophole. Maybe if they just kept posting about their teams, nobody would notice that. They no longer had a team. Depression, the gut-wrenching realization that they actually have to get a real job. You could practically hear the collective wail across Instagram stories. I just can't imagine going back to a 9 to -5 acceptance. Never. Instead of admitting defeat, most of them jumped ship to another MLM. And that last part is chef's kiss. When one MLM collapses, the Huns don't wake up. No, they immediately start shilling a new scam. It's the MLM equivalent of rats fleeing a sinking ship, only to climb aboard another sinking ship. Some Beachbody refugees ran straight to Herbalife. Others flocked to Arbonne. The truly unhinged ones tried selling hormone-balancing wellness patches, also known as fancy stickers that do literally nothing. And a select few just straight up invented their own MLMs from scratch. Because if you can't lose money in someone else's scam, why not create your own? But not everyone made it out. Some of the most loyal Beachbody coaches who had built entire cults of personality around the brand were left completely directionless. They had spent years calling this their purpose, their passion, their life's work, and now they had to face the horrifying truth. They weren't entrepreneurs, they were just customers. No more Shakeology bonuses, no more lavish retreats, no more fake business coach nonsense, just silence. For years, these women had been training their followers to trust them, to see them as wellness experts, financial success stories, lifestyle influencers. And suddenly, the mask slipped. The business was gone, and with it, the illusion of success. Because here's the thing, if someone actually built a successful business, they wouldn't have to start over every 2 years. Real entrepreneurs don't have to convince their friends to buy protein powder. Real entrepreneurs don't panic when a company changes its compensation plan. Real entrepreneurs don't live in constant fear of their empire crumbling overnight. But MLM Huns? Oh, they always do. And there you have it. The top Huns will keep selling a dream. The cycle will keep repeating. And somewhere out there, in a poorly lit Facebook Live, a former Beachbody coach is already recruiting for her next scam. But you're smarter than that. You see the pattern, you know the game. And maybe, just maybe, the next time someone slides into your DMs with an exciting business opportunity, you'll hit them with a gif, a laugh, and a swift block. Because at the end of the day, the only person guaranteed to make money in an MLM is the person selling the dream, not the product.